So
There was a Charles Bream, B-R-E-A-M, the organizer of the Sunday school. And then we had a seminarian, Paul Jansen, and he established the first worship service. And then we had Pastor Lepisto, and he used to go between Albuquerque and here to preach.
Was
He
he
lived in, pardon me.
Was he early on? Was he one of the really early ones?
Yeah, And then in 1950, we had Pastor Charles Davis, the mission developer.
Okay.
And then 51, we were established. And then 52, Pastor Dannewitz and John.
And he was an engineer by trade and education, so he kind of fit really well in this town.
We put up chairs and there were tables in the back, which was nice. We could change the baby's pants and feed them and things like that. There were sofas along the edge.
Okay,
The
good.
choir had chairs and
Yeah.
they had an organ.
So it was,
The Girl Scouts apparently used those couches for their meetings, so they were arranged around the room,
okay.
and that served as part of the seating.
Hmm.
We didn't have to unfold quite as many chairs, because part of the congregation could sit on the permanent chairs.
Right, good.
It
So
was
you-
more informal, I guess you'd say. The average age at the laboratory when we arrived was 27 years, and that's what Leroy was when we arrived. He was 27. So as you can imagine, it was a very young community, and there were lots of babies. And we sat in the back of the church and tried to keep them quiet while the choir, Leroy sang in the choir, and
Well, the AEC set aside several plots, and they tried to bunch all the churches together. And that's why you see where the Episcopal churches
The Methodist, yeah.
and the Methodist
United.
and the United and
yeah.
Roman Catholic are all in that area, and we're sort of by ourselves.
But the AEC found the plots and
But
made them
they-
available.
I remember when they had the groundbreaking service up here to build the first church. My son, I don't know, he must have been about 4 then, and so we all come here and gathered, and I went through the ceremony and moved a few shovelfuls of dirt, and then everyone went home. My son was really mad because he thought we were going to build a church that day. He was a little impatient. He wanted one built then, and I know he was quite agitated about that.
It was a fairly simple building.
It was small.
Designed mostly, I guess, by the church at large in New York, who believed they could figure out what we needed.
You walked into the vestibule and then right into the sanctuary to
Yes.
right. Yeah.
And it went down to past where the library used to be. The choir sat on the right. And we all went up and knelt. We had kneelers up there in the first church.
For communion, yeah.
For communion.
Oh.
We went up row by row
Oh, I see.
and all knelt and then left, and it was very nice.
Mhm.
It was small, but very cozy, very, very, very nice.
Mrs. Obi played the organ, and she was rubbing against that brick wall, so she wore out lots of choir robes.
And we all had to wear hats. Mrs. Obi had a hat class, and we all made hats, and we wore them to church. It was proper at the time, was it not?
Oh, yeah.
Right?
So when the church was first here, was it just a single story?
No.
Or was it 2-story from the very
It's
first?
basement.
With
So
the
you did
ca-
have a basement underneath
Yeah.
there.
Where we have the basement now.
Okay, so that was more the fellowship hall, and you had a
Yes.
kitchen and
That's what
everything
it
down
was.
there.
That kitchen, you know how little that is.
That was our kitchen.
Neat.
And we served when the church was dedicated. How was that? We served awful lot of people from that little bitty church, little bitty kitchen.
Yeah,
Wow.
Yeah.
we did.
It was tiny. There was no window, you know.
It was terrible.
Neat.
And that was the day that we had a big fire up here in Burnt Mountain. And Mary Hinkle was about to have a baby, but Dick went up to fight the fire. So she went and had the baby all by herself. And it froze that night, 6th of June. And that's
Oh, my
historical
word.
truth.
The other room, closet was the kitchen.
And when was the stage downstairs built? Was that initially part of the building?
No, that was built when we built it because we needed someplace for the Sunday school to perform and,
Okay.
you know, they put on Christmas programs and
And sometimes they were held downstairs in the old building, you know, down on, and the sun would come in through those
Yeah.
windows from the east. It was touching.
So how was the original church financed?
Well, when we first started, the church borrowed money from the Women's Association, the national church.
Mhm.
And of course, the men had a hard time swallowing that, but that's what happened. And I don't know beyond that, really.
Yeah.
Well, the second thing we did, we had a babysitting thing that we did in the church. We put out an advertisement through the town that Bethlehem was going to babysit. But we took the money that we got and we gave it to the treasurer.
Mm.
And that's how we got money.
I think it was a labor of love too, because we were so
Yes.
tired at the end of the day taking care of our own kids. Go and take care of somebody else's.
Well, yeah, I remember that.
I think
because-
you did.
Oh, yeah, because
March did
March
that.
belonged to
Right.
that, and she did a lot of babysitting. And
We
to raise
raised
money.
quite a bit of money that way. Help pay bills.
Margie could have done that, but I don't remember.
I remember we got stuck with, people didn't pick up their kids, and we had them for the entire night a few times.
That's
but,
true.
I guess people would go to parties and then forget, that they had kids or whatever.
Maybe they
but,
just partied too much,
but,
Chuck.
we'd have them for the entire night, and they would come and pick them up the next day, and,
That would happen.
oh, yeah, it happens.
In the early days, most of our business meetings at the council were, where do we get enough money to pay the pastor?
We cleaned the church too, voluntary. Remember that?
I remember that, yes.
We did not pay, an
Take
organist did not get paid, the choir director. Nobody in the church got paid except pastor. There was no money. But there again, we were in it together. We did it as a family. And there again comes the closeness of us all. And why we did what we did with no money at all.
I remember one thing about this state, the main church body headquarters didn't want us to have a choir law because they didn't think it was safe, and, but, we ended up with one anyway because we had no choice.
Right.
That's the only place we had to put the choir.
Oh.
There was a
And,
big discussion about
But
that. John Ward was very much involved in that.
Mhm.
The acoustics were very important, which is
Mhm.
why it was all of natural rock and
Mhm.
finish.
Going back to that choir, we were called a heavenly choir for a while because it was so high, you know? It was originally planned to be even higher
Right, they cut it
in
down.
the
quite a bit.
original drawings. But one thing about singing up in there is that you could watch romances start. You know, you'd see somebody move closer and closer together as time went on, and several of them worked that way.
Not just young people, but
Older people.
some of the older ones, yes.
For a while, the kids would all be sitting, well, first they wouldn't even sit in the same pew, and then the kids would in between time went on and pretty soon here are the two that were serious about it, and then the kids were every which way.
Everyone tried to keep in touch with what was going on at that time because our congregation was fairly small, but the one thing that I do remember is every time that we would build and we think we've got it equipped this time, but by the time that it was finished, we had outgrown. And that's a good sign.
It was very good.
I think from the time Bethlehem started, we were family. It was then and it is now. Don't
I
you
agree.
feel? I don't know what it is. Maybe it was because we didn't have mothers and daddies around us. I mean, somebody lived in Ohio, mine were in Wisconsin, Bruce's went in North Dakota. They came once in a while, but these were was our family.